Welcome to We Are Carroll, a service of the Community Foundation of Carroll County. I'm your host, Kayla Selinsky. To celebrate Earth Day, we speak with Mary Hoy, Live Materials Director at Carroll County Public Schools. We learn about live materials and how to give back to planet Earth beyond Earth Day. To learn more about the Outdoor School or Mary Hoy, please visit ods.carrollk12.org. Remember, you can learn more about the Community Foundation of Carroll County on our website, www.wearecarroll.org. Stay with us.
Hello, my name is Mary Hoy. My profession is live materials for Carroll County Board of Education. I actually work with elementary schools, but anybody that gets in touch with me, I'll make sure they get live materials.
When you say live materials, what does that mean?
Well, it's anything that's living. I do roly-polies, I do caterpillars, I'll deliver turtles and bluegills, also tadpoles and tadpole eggs. There are other things too that I find along the way.
How did you get started in this profession?
Well, I've worked for Carroll County Board of Ed for 50 years. I retired in 2014 and just wasn't ready to retire. Had more to give, so I went back and applied for the live materials position. I got the job, and I've been doing that ever since. And I've got to tell you, it's been a lot of fun, but there's been a learning curve because there's a lot of problems that come up. Like, for instance, this morning, I had a tadpole death. There was an aquarium in an elementary school classroom, and when the teacher arrived in the morning, all the tadpoles were belly up. So very quickly, I had to jump in my car, go retrieve the aquarium, and clean it up and put in fresh tadpoles before the kids discovered what had happened.
What does Earth Day mean to you?
Everything. What would we have if we didn't have the Earth? We do not appreciate Mother Earth as much as we should.
So what are some things that we can do to celebrate the Earth even beyond Earth Day?
Well, one of the things we can do is just take a little piece of land, make it yours, plant native plants, observe your garden over time, learn from it, take care of it. Just claim a piece of land as yours and take care of it. That's the one big thing you can do.
What are some native plants that you recommend?
Oh, native plants. There are so many that are so beautiful, and people don't appreciate them. Most people like the big tropical showy flowers, and I do too. I mean, I love hydrangeas, but they're non-natives. So things like coneflowers are absolutely beautiful, and salvia, and I could go on and on. There are so many beautiful native plants, and native plants are really the best thing to plant because they have root systems that go to China. And they don't require a lot of fertilizer. They don't require a lot of care, and they're beneficial to the animals that live here. Many of them are pollinator plants, good for the bees and the butterflies. So anytime you can plant a native plant, it's a real good thing for the earth. And that's one of the things that we try to teach the kids in elementary school, that if you're going to plant something for the bees and the butterflies.
Why?
Because if we didn't have bees and butterflies, we would not eat. Our pollinators are very, very important. And without them, we would not have the food that we need necessary to feed all the people on the planet.
That's a big deal.
Yeah, it is. People don't appreciate the pollinators the way they should.
Do you have a garden?
Oh, absolutely.
What's in your garden?
Oh, my goodness. I'm glad you asked. I have milkweed in my garden. I have common milkweed, which is a weed that you find along the side of the road, which usually is cut down because people call it a weed. But it's a really important weed because it's the only weed, the only plant that a butterfly, the monarch butterfly, will lay its eggs on. Wow. If we lose milkweed, we lose that beautiful butterfly. So in my garden, I have 3 types of milkweed, and I encourage the butterflies to come to my garden and lay eggs, and the caterpillars eat the milkweed. That's the only plant they will eat. Another reason why milkweed is so important. And then in September, my job is to make sure that every elementary school gets caterpillars and eggs from the monarch so the kids can watch the life cycle of the monarch butterfly. So I go out into my garden and I collect eggs and caterpillars. I was lucky enough this year to have a lady at my church, an 82-year-old woman, who took some milkweeds from my greenhouse. She raised them in her garden, and this year she supplied me with 300 caterpillars that she harvested herself and placed in containers. And she would call me up and she said, Mary, I have 30 more. I have 30 more. And honestly, I don't think I could have supplied the caterpillars this year without her help, because I've noticed a big drop in the number of caterpillars that I'm finding, and the ones that I'm finding are diseased. Yeah, they're dealing with a lot of disease as well. So, yeah, do I have gardens? I do, yes.
So you have a garden and you have a greenhouse?
I don't have a greenhouse. The place where I work up at Hoshua has a greenhouse attached to a classroom. And when I first got the job in 2014, that greenhouse was empty and nobody was using it. And I thought, oh, what a resource. We could be raising plants in that greenhouse and utilizing it. So that's where I get the milkweed. And I actually start the milkweed from seed. I collect those in the seed in the fall, start it in the spring. And now my plants are about, I'd say about 6 inches tall. And we'll plant them after Mother's Day.
So you've been planting these seeds over and over since 2014?
Some of them, yes. There were years where I was just too lazy to collect the seeds, and then I'd buy them from a nursery. But basically, yeah, you can use them over and over and over again.
So is your garden a monarch sanctuary?
I think it is. Yeah, this year I did not get as much as my friend did, but probably about 200 caterpillars from my garden.
Why'd she get so much? Is it her first time? Why? Is it luck?
Well, you do have to get lucky. You might plant a monarch garden and you may not get a monarch for the first year, but eventually they'll find it. A little bit of luck goes along with it, yes.
What advice do you have for people, because I'm thinking about myself in my garden, that want to have a monarch sanctuary in their garden? What advice do you have?
The first thing you need to do is find a source of milkweed. You need nothing more than milkweed. And then, well, you do need something else. You need nectarine plants, because monarch butterflies like a nice, stable flower where they can stand and put their proboscis into the flower and suck out all that great juice that they use for food. So I would say nectarine plants and milkweed, and that's all you need to encourage monarch caterpillars to come to your garden.
So you have live materials. Where are you getting all of these live materials?
Well, I work at Hoshua Environmental Center, so all these live materials come from there. And the thing that I really want to stress is that we don't take those things away from Hoshua and not give them back. Everything that I take from there, I retrieve and take back to the same place, because that's important. I don't want to take everything away and not give back. For instance, in the 4th grade, the kids study what kinds of critters might be in a wetland or a pond. And I go into the wetland with a net and I capture all kinds of really awesome critters like water scorpions and damselflies and dragonflies and all kinds of really cool animals. I put them in a 5-gallon bucket, fill it up with water, take it into the classroom, and the kids poke through it, find the animals, try to identify them, and do some other things with them. Sometimes they put them in their own aquarium, but after the kids are done with the animals, I put them back in the bucket and take them right back to the wetland where I found them so that they can thrive. I'm not saying that there's no death. However, we do everything we can to make sure that the animals are taken care of.
What is the wetland classroom?
Oh, that's a very special place. I think that the wetlands classroom is probably the most amazing classroom in the whole country. It's full of aquariums. It was an old bank barn. In other words, it used to be filled with cows.
Cool.
And now it's full of children learning about wetlands. But when we had this facility, this barn that was nothing but it was dirt. There was a dirt floor. The windows were falling out. The walls were nothing but this brown board that looked horrible. It was a terrible, terrible space. Mm-hmm. And there was a tragedy. Dr. Borelli, a doctor that lived here in Carroll County, had a lovely daughter by the name of Francesca. Mm-hmm. Francesca was killed in an automobile accident. And Dr. Borelli wanted to do something for his daughter, in memory of his daughter. So he provided some money to design this incredible classroom. And I was the lucky person who got to do it. So my vision was to have the kids walk into the classroom and just feel like they had walked into a wetland. Almost feel like, oh, I better put boots on because I'm going to get wet.
Yes. So
the bottom of the classroom is water, and the top of the classroom is sky. And it's really incredible. It was done by a dear friend of mine, Caroline Quinn. She was the artist, and she did an amazing job of making you feel like you're just in a wetlands. And it's just full of aquariums. We have brand new furniture, brand new windows, thanks to Dr. Borelli. And now kids can go there and really enjoy the experience. The other thing that's really fun is there's a little ladybug in the mural. And if you find it, it's good luck.
Ooh.
Yeah, so you might want to come up and try to find the ladybug.
I have to now.
Yeah. The other special thing about the mural is that Francesca, the lady that lost her life in the car accident, was actually drawn in the mural. And it is very special.
Beautiful.
Very.
We were talking about the tadpoles, and then you said that there are certain types of fruit flies that don't have wings.
Well, I don't think the teachers would be real happy if I took regular fruit flies into their classroom.
Yes.
That would be awful. And like I told you, usually I'm killing fruit flies in my home, and in my job, I'm actually raising them. The ones that I raise are fruit flies without wings. They have been engineered by scientists not to have wings so that they can be fed to animals. So I take fruit flies into the frogs, and the teachers can feed the frogs. And another reason why it's good that they don't have wings is it makes it a little bit easier for these tiny little toads and frogs to capture those fruit flies and get a good meal.
What if I have older kids or just students that are, beyond Carroll County that want to watch the life cycle of frogs? What do they do?
Well, if you want it to go fast, and most people do, we don't want to wait around for anything. We want to do it quickly. I would suggest wood frogs. Wood frogs are the very first frogs that come out. They're very, very interesting. Actually, in the wintertime, they bury in the mud. Their bodies manufacture a special antifreeze. They freeze solid in the wintertime. And at first warmth of spring, they come out of their sleep. They thaw out and start making this croaking noise. And when you hear it, you think, that's a duck. But it's not a duck. It's a frog. Wow. And it's not the female frog. It's the male frog. Mm-hmm. He's croaking because he's trying to find a female to mate with and then to carry on. Mm-hmm. So it's really quite noisy up at the wetlands in Hoshua during this time. It's usually the first week in April, and you hear this croaking and you think, oh, it's time to go collect the eggs. So you go collect the eggs. You have about a 2-week opportunity. It's not a big window of opportunity. And I take a net and I go down to the wetlands and I spot an egg mass that's about the size of a baseball. And I net that egg mass out of the water, put it in a bucket, and take it up to my classroom. And there I cut the egg mass up into tiny little pieces. It doesn't hurt anybody. And put it into 2-pound deli containers. And I make sure that every kindergarten teacher gets a small little egg mass to watch the life cycle of a frog, of a wood frog.
That's amazing. So we can do that ourselves.
You can do that yourself. Absolutely. Yeah.
Do you work at the outdoor school as well?
I used to.
Cool.
I was an outdoor school teacher for 10 years. Wow. Yeah, and really enjoyed it. But when it was time to retire, I thought, well, I'm just not ready. So I decided to be live materials. We had a really wonderful science supervisor who said, live materials should be at Hoshua, where all the live materials are. It had been at South Carroll High School. I was moved to, or actually, my office is at Hoshua. I work with the outdoor school teachers, and sometimes they help me a lot. They will, they'll collect egg cases for praying mantises. Yeah, and they'll capture fish for me and crayfish and bring them back to the aquariums in the wetlands classroom. So I don't specifically work with the children there, but I do work with the teachers, and we collaborate a lot.
What's your superpower, like Spider-Man?
I think my superpower is the fact that my job is not just a job, it's a calling. Oh. I think that's my superpower.
What does that mean? What's a calling?
It means I love what I do. And it makes me feel good when I lay my head on my pillow at night. I know I have done something good, not only for the kids, but for the environment as well. And that's a really special feeling.
What advice do you have for people that are looking for that?
Go outside and take a hike. Go outside and take a hike is my advice. It's not only healthy emotionally and physically, but you might learn something on the way.
All right, this part is called Staff Smiles. Today we're going to focus on Jackie Matthias and how much we love Jackie. Mary, how much do you love Jackie?
Oh, a ton. I could not have done the Francesca Borelli project without Jackie. I walked into her office and I immediately was inspired and could not wait to start the project. And everything that I asked her to do, she would do with a smile. In fact, we are now involved in a new project with Jackie up at Hoshua. We are placing a memorial garden on the side of Hoshua, the main building, and she is instrumental in helping us with that. So, yeah, Jackie Matthias is awesome.
Mm-hmm. I love Jackie Matthias. She has a wonderful mind. She's an athlete. She's also has a wonderful heart and a wonderful spirit, and also perfect hair. And take that to the bank. That's important to know. Thank you. Thank you so much for your time. This was amazing.
Oh, thank you. It's been fun.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the We Are Carroll Project. To hear more episodes, please visit wearecarroll.org. That's wearecarroll.org. Talk to you next time.